I think that for the sake of truth and accuracy, there are no great generals. There's not one great general that has said what you were just told, that the borders of 67 can be supported, defended. Two people's names were mentioned. Mayor Pa'il was never a general.
I didn't say he was.
You said many great generals, and then you said Paladin Pa'il. So I assume that within that context, he was a general. He wasn't a general. A politician and a leftist. Mati Peled was head of the Quartermaster Corps of Tzahal. An important job, but hardly a great general. He is also today a member of Knesset of the pro-Ashraf PLO party. I think that those of you who heard these words weren't born, or if you were much too young to recall the 3 weeks that preceded the Six-Day War. If you had been alive then, or been old enough to remember that terror, as Jews throughout the world thought, my God, Israel is going under, not another Holocaust. Jews gave money here as if we're going out of style, out of a terrible fear, another 2.5 million Jews then. Israel struck the first blow, thank God. That's what saved them. Stand on a mountaintop in Samaria and you can see the lights of the cities of Israel on the coast. You want to go back to that? They may, if we make this offer to them, they've gotten clever. They may agree, and we'll have given them land for a piece of paper. How many people who win 5 wars give up land? They may become irresponsible people once they get power. That's what they said about Hitler. That's what they said about Hitler. Of course, now he's raving and he's talking. Give him power and he'll become a responsible person. And Germany, too, was bound by a treaty that they could not have an army. He tore it up, and the world did nothing. What will the Israelis do if there is a Palestinian state which invites Russian troops in? No question that Israel will immediately march in and fight the Russians. I find it an incredible thing. Let's invite the PLO. We're angry at Ronald Reagan for not remembering what the Nazis did. How dare we forget what the PLO has done and would do tomorrow? I want peace at least as much as Rabbi Axelrod does, because I don't live in Massachusetts. I want peace because my children serve in the army, and I serve in the army. Of course I want peace. Who doesn't want peace? But there's a tremendous difference between wanting something and getting it. My grandson thinks that if you want something, you get it. When he reaches the age of 5, I hope that he'll understand that that's not how the world works. Of course I want peace, but I remember the reality of the Arab-Jewish struggle. In 1947, they could have had a state called Palestine. All they had to do was agree to a partition plan, which would have created an absurd little Jewish state which couldn't have existed. And they said no to that. I remember that. And I remember what they did before there was a Jewish state. The hundreds of Jews slaughtered in what was then Palestine. Why do we have such contempt for the Arabs? There's not one Arab refugee, not one Palestinian in Lebanon who comes from the West Bank or from Gaza. You know where they come from? They come from the Galilee. They come from Haifa. They don't want to return to Shechem because they never came from Shechem. They want to return to Nazareth. That's where they were born. Or to Haifa. That's where they were born. Why do we have such contempt for them? I respect the as a temporary step. And then you know what they'll demand? The implementation of all the UN plans. The UN resolved in 1947 to establish a state within certain borders. The PLO will demand, after they have their state within the 67 borders, that Israel conform to the resolution of 1947 and return Jaffa, or at least allow all the refugees to go back. And you know who will be the first of the Jewish moralists to get up and say, Yosef, it's only right, it's only right. You know who will be among the first. Because it's only right to let them go back, because after all, it's not right to let them stay in camps when they came from Jaffa, and Ramla, and Lut, and Ashkelon, and Beersheba. No, not 1 inch back to them.